Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be tackling one of Excel's most powerful functions, which is the VLOOKUP function. So if you've ever needed to find specific information in a large worksheet, then this function is going to be a game changer. So we're going to get to see how that works. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's get going, guys, with VLOOKUP. So what is VLOOKUP? Well, it stands for vertical lookup, and this Excel function is going to search for values that are in the first column of a table or a list, and it's going to return the value that's in the same row, so it's going to return a value for the record from whatever column you specify. It's really perfect for when you need to pull information from large data sets quickly. And in this example, I'll show you how it works with the data set that's in front of you right now. Now, this is a super small data set, but again, this is just for an example. So let's say that we wanted to look up the contract price for each of our clients by their client ID. So instead of going through hundreds and hundreds of rows looking for that client ID and then scrolling over and looking for the contract price, we're going to do something. We're going to set up a little area, and I'll show you guys that in 1 second here. Let me switch over. And you can either look it up on the same page, same worksheet, or a different worksheet, or even a different workbook. So here I'm on a different worksheet here. And the goal here is that when I type in the client ID, it's going to pull out the contract price for me. I don't need to go looking it up myself, okay? So let's start first with the syntax. And it looks like this. We've got our equal sign to start our function, VLOOKUP, and then open parentheses, lookup value, comma, table array, comma, column index number, comma, and then the range lookup, which you see is in square brackets there, so it makes it optional. So here's what each part of the syntax means. The VLOOKUP value is the value that you want to find. So remember, in our case, we're going to be looking for the client ID. And the table underscore array there is the range of cells that contain that data. So when we go back to our list, it's going to be A2 through C6. Now, if it's set up as a table, you can always just put in the table name there. And then next we have the column index number. So this is the column number from that table or list where you want to retrieve the value. And in our case, it's going to be column number 3, which is our contract price. And lastly, we have our range lookup. And remember, this is optional, and it's going to be a true or false. If it's set to false, it's going to look for an exact match in that column. If it's set to true, it's going to look for an approximate match. And because it's optional, if you just leave it blank, then Excel is just going to assume that it's going to be false. All right, so now let's see it in action. So just as a reminder, here is our list of clients. Again, client ID is in the first column, client name in the second, and the contract price in the third. I'm going to go to my lookup area right here. In this first example, I want to find the client with the ID of 101. So under contract price here, I'm going to type in my equals VL, and again, Excel knows what I'm talking about here, so VLOOKUP pops up. While it's blue, I can just hit Tab on the keyboard instead of typing out the whole thing. So now Excel is asking me what it is that I want to look up, and I want to look up the ID of 101. I could type in 101 here. I could hard code it, but what we're going to do in this example is I'm going to click on A2 here. So anytime I make a change, if I change this to 103, 104, 105, it's going to dynamically update the contract price. You'll see that in a second. Now, while I'm putting this in, take a look at the formula bar. You don't see it in B2, but if you look at the formula bar, you can see it says equals VLOOKUP, open parentheses, A2. So we're good to go with that. I'm going to go ahead up to the formula bar here and type in my comma. Now you can see it down in my worksheet. And the next thing that I need to tell Excel here is where this information is at that I want to look up. So I'm going to switch over to my other worksheet. And if you guys would like a copy of this worksheet, check the description. I do have copies of this worksheet available, so you can follow along. All right, so I am going to look up here A2 all the way through to C6. That's where my information is. I'm going to put in another comma because I'm ready to tell it which column I want to return. And that is going to be the third column, the contract price column. So I'm just going to type in a number 3 there. And I want Excel to pull in this exact number for me. So I could either just leave this blank right now and hit enter on my keyboard, and that's going to give me my close parentheses, or I could type in another comma and put in false exact match. I'm going to go ahead and hit tab. All right, so my formula here, and remember, we're going to pull this into the other sheet. I want Excel to vertically look up what's inside of A2 on my other sheet. I want it to look it up here in this client data tab, this other worksheet, in the range of A2 through A6. I want it to give me back the third column, and I am looking for an exact match. All right, I'll go ahead and hit enter. Oh, actually, before I do hit enter, let's just note here that A. Smith, who is client ID 101, his contract price is $25,186. So I'll go ahead and now hit enter, and you guys can see that it brought in the $25,186. All right, let's test this out. I'm going to go ahead and change this 101 to maybe 104 and see what happens. I'll go ahead and hit enter. And now you see the contract price is $12,992. I'm going to go to client data here and 104, which is T. Harris. Yes, that's right, $12,992. So Excel is vertically looking up whatever number I put in to my little field here. It's looking it up on this sheet. It's looking it up here first in the first column, and then it's going across to whatever column I tell it to go across to and bring out that information. Okay, so before we wrap up, here's a couple of tips. First, make sure that your VLOOKUP value is in the first column of your table array. Also, if you're getting an error, just check for typos or formatting issues in your data. And remember, using false is an exact match. False equals exact match. Because technically it's asking if you want a range. No, you don't. False, give me an exact match. And that's usually just safer just to ensure accuracy. And that's it for our VLOOKUP tutorial. With this function, you can easily pull important information, important data from large tables just super quick. If you found this video helpful, then just go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Make sure you share it with everyone in your office, and make sure that they subscribe as well. And again, if you want to see more examples of VLOOKUP or other cool Excel features, then check out the links below in the description, and that'll take you over to my Udemy courses. All right, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next video.